what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
This podcast is sponsored by the 2019 Foot Candle Film Festival. This year's festival will be held September 27th through the 29th in Hickory, North Carolina. Learn more by visiting footcandlefilmfestival.com.
Welcome to StreetCircleDrive here on The Mesh. I'm going to toss it over to McNally right now to kick off this episode. A very happy May Day here in the studio.
Welcome back, everyone. We're so glad that you joined us today on this episode. So with that said, we were sitting here getting ready to count down, and I was, Mary Margaret's got a different microphone than the rest of us. It's got the screen, and I just laughed, waiting for your sultry welcome back to Street Circle Drive on The Mesh, themesh.tv.
Keep it going.
All right, well, it's been a minute, so we're glad to be back.
We are glad to be back.
And so today, we have a special guest. We're just going to jump right into it.
Please do.
Councilman David Williams, the city of Hickory.
Hey. Hello. Happy to be here.
And we're glad to have you here. And with this being the Hickory-centric podcast, I know Moose reached out to you and somehow suckered you into joining us today. But
yes,
it's painless, I promise.
Yes. Well, so far I had no idea that this was such a humorous show.
Well, we don't plan to be funny, but sometimes these two I'm surrounded by. I just can't. None of us can contain our picking on each other long enough, I guess.
It's difficult, but. With that said, again, glad you're here. We appreciate you taking the time, not only be with us today, but for your time and effort serving the city. Yes. A lot of times being an elected official is a thankless job, but there is a lot of time and effort put into it, probably maybe even a little bit more than you thought going into it.
Yes, it has been.
Speaking of getting suckered.
Exactly. That's why. If this is painful, just blame Moose, not the rest of us. I guess I know that Moose talked to you before you came on today, but if you don't mind, for those that I know you and I just met today for the first time, yes. But kind of provide a little background of yourself to the listeners and kind of how you got to the seat where you are at the city council with us today.
Okay. Quite a long story, actually.
All right, I'm here. We're good.
As I was explaining to Moose, I was a bit of a troublemaker when I was younger. I was originally born and raised in Bessemer City, North Carolina, which is in Gaston County. And a lot of times people, when they get themselves caught up with the wrong crowd and they get themselves caught up doing the wrong things, they stay there and they stay content with what they're doing, but I always seen better things for myself. I always wanted more for myself. And so that's why I decided I wanted a new start, a fresh start. And I wanted to go somewhere where nobody knew me, where I could just clean my slate and start fresh and be the person that I knew I could be and the person that I wanted to be. And so I had came to the mall here in Hickory maybe twice. And I said, you know what? I don't know anybody in Hickory. That would be the perfect place for me to start over. And so I came here with nothing but the shirt on my back. Didn't know anybody. I have absolutely no family here in Hickory. And just started here 22 years ago. And I worked for a gentleman up the street on First Avenue, Clemens Barbershop. Worked there for about 4.5 years. And then after that, I started my own business, Plush Cuts. And getting actively involved in the community once I started my own business because I felt like it was important to reach others, help others, and just be a part of the community. And it just led to me being in the position that I am in now, being on city council, wanting to continue to reach out and help the community, help the city. And I think that being on city council gave me a better opportunity and provided more opportunity for me to just reach others and do more in the city.
That's great. We appreciate that. And like I said, even though this is the first time that we've had the opportunity to meet, especially since you're run for office and being on the city council, I've been, heard more stories and had the opportunity to admire and appreciate you from a distance. So we do appreciate all that you do, and both entrepreneurially, community-wise, and on the city council. So that's a great story, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of kick back where, Hickory was, you know, you didn't have the folks that were there had those expectations of who you were or whatnot, but you're still close enough where it's close enough to be familiar from Gastonia or Gaston County.
Yes.
Very good.
So, David, what was your motivation to run for office to begin with? You know, was there one thing in particular, or everything in general? Or?
That's a funny story, actually. About 9 years ago, I started, well, as I mentioned before, let me back up. As I mentioned before, I always tried to help out and do things in the community, to help others, reach others, and try to inspire. 9 years ago, I started an event, which is a free haircut event for back to school, where I give book bags, free haircuts, feed the entire community, and we just make it into a block party. Mm-hmm. And just about, I'd say maybe 4 years ago, I had partnered with, it continued to grow, and I partnered with the Hickory Police Department and several other businesses in the community, and that event grew so much that we had almost about 600 people on the block over here on Center Street. It grew, I mean, just tremendously, and I had someone to come up to me after the event, and they said, "David, you have taken your community work and your community service to the next level, but it's time for you to reach further. I think that if you were to take this opportunity to try to get on city council, you could go even further and affect more people from the other side." And so actually someone approached me with that. And so I went home, I talked to my wife about it. And at the time, I didn't know much about city council, what they'd done. I had a little bit of an idea. And so I began to research it. And after researching it, I went to my wife and was like, "No way, I'm not doing that." After realizing what I would have to go through. But my wife, you know, she's my strength. She's my rock. She has my back on a lot of things, and she pushes and motivates me to do a lot. And she's just a great Christian lady, and she just wanted me to take advantage of that opportunity of being able to run for city council, because she's seen that I could affect more people being on council versus just doing things in the neighborhood, because I could collaborate more, I could have more influence and be involved and mingle with more people that are the movers and shakers and that can make things happen and that control budgets and programs. And so after thinking about it and, you know, talking to my wife and praying about it, I decided that I would run for city council. Yeah. That's how I got to that point.
So, you know, with all that's happening in the city of Hickory, with the city walk and all the bond projects, and you know, where do you see Hickory in the next 4 or 5 years? You know, you've been in office since 17,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So in the next, let's say 2 years, what do you see? What do you see for us?
Oh my gosh, I see Hickory going in a great direction of growth. Right now, we have with the bond projects, you know, we have the City Walk, Riverwalk, and we have the Trivium Corporate Center. There are so many more jobs that are going to be coming to Hickory. I think that we're going to get an influx of people that want to live. First of all, Hickory is a great city. Hickory is a great family city. Hickory is centrally located. We're close to the mountains. We're close to Charlotte. We're close to Greensboro, Raleigh. We are in the perfect location, first and foremost, for families. We have a great school system. We have a great school superintendent. And I see Hickory in 2 years with what we have coming, with the new jobs, and not just these jobs that are coming, they're paying higher than the average salary. And so people will be able to make a more livable wage, because that was one of the things that I had a problem with. Because if you look at it, we have about 300 and some odd unfilled jobs already. Mm-hmm. But a lot of places are paying poverty level wages.
Right.
And so that's why you see a lot of people, they'll work somewhere for a little while and they won't stay, because, I mean, why am I doing this for $8 an hour, whatever it may be? Mm-hmm. And so with these new companies that are coming in, you know, you have Corning building their new building, ITM coming in, the German company, pharmaceuticals. They're going to be paying more of a livable wage. And so I can see, and we're talking about, and with the Design Foundry, we're talking about 300-400 plus jobs.
Right.
And so when you get that many jobs that are paying that type of wage, and we're constantly building, we have a lot of plans for apartment buildings, homes coming on, especially in the Startown area, right across the street from the Trivium Corporate Center. There's going to be about 600 plus units with nice apartments, nice homes, and they're going to be mixed use. And so we have some affordable housing coming here to Hickory, because that's been one of the issues that we've had in the past. And just right behind my business, there's going to be some affordable housing put back there. And 2 years from now, with the City Walk and with the Riverwalk, and even in my area in Ridgeview, where I live, there's going to be the Book Walk, so named right now.
Right.
And then with those projects, and the thing that people don't talk a lot about is the North Carolina DOT. Over the next several years, they have about $300+ million worth of investments coming to this area. And so when you add all of those things together with the way we're moving forward in Hickory with the projects that we're doing, 2 years from now, I can see this city transformed into something that transformed into a place that a lot of people would want to come and stay, and we will be very excited to see what's going to be happening.
That's right. Not everybody move here at once.
Yeah.
Come and visit a little bit, and
see
then
if you like it first.
Yeah. I guess I'm a great salesman.
Well, speaking of anybody that might be listening that has any interest in coming here, we promote that we love Hickory, and we think you should too. That's what this podcast is all about. Yes. But obviously we love if, we're ever a resource to anyone thinking of coming to the area. Explain for us just briefly how our city council system works. So, obviously some cities operate from a mayor council, some from city manager council, things. And then tell us about the ward that you represent.
Okay. Currently here in Hickory, we have a manager's form of government, in which the city manager pretty much runs the day-to-day operations of the city, and the mayor is almost like the seventh council member, because we have 6 council members. We have Ward 1, Brad Lale, Ward 2, Charlotte Williams, Ward 3, Danny Seaver, myself in Ward 4, David Zagaroli, Ward 5, Jill Patton, Ward 6, and then we have the mayor. And with the way our system works, a lot of things that we do here in the city, of course, it requires a vote by council, has to be approved by council. And so we get along very well. And we all want to see Hickory progress. And so a lot of times, I'm sure you all have seen video of council members fighting, doing these arguments and stuff. Especially overseas, man. Those guys really have like WrestleMania. It's like funny. But us as a
you guys are pretty tame. The city council meetings I've been to, right?
They're all older, so
I want to see Hank Guest and Brad Lell in a Royal Rumble. That'd be fun to see.
Now that would be good.
Put them in some leotards.
That would be good.
Jelly wrestling.
Yes, but what I said was I would take Danny Seaver and we'll play everybody 2-on-2 basketball for any decision. Because I know Danny Seaver will come out with the headband and his shorts. But we work well together as council. But the way, like I said, we're in a manager's form of government. And our city manager, Warren Wood, does a great job. And he's a visionary. Warren, he is a very smart man. I say all the time, if he moves, I don't know if I would want to run for council again. Because Warren, he works well with Scott Millar of the Catawba County EDC. They come up with so many great ideas and so many great things that Hickory needs, and he addresses any problems that we have in a timely manner. He and Kevin Greer, who is over the public services, those guys do such a great job. And, they handle this city well. And like I said, Warren, he comes up with so many ideas, and he is leading our city in a great direction. And Mayor Hank Guest is a great mayor. He has stepped up because he's new to this office as well. Hank does a great job as mayor, being a leader for our council and being a leader for our city, because Hank, as a retired guy, he works more than anybody I know because he's all over the city making sure that things are taken care of. He's an extension of Warren and an extension of our council.
He's a retired police officer.
And he's a retired police officer.
So he's got a little vested interest, I feel like, in coming into it from the whole whole city.
Yes. He knows our city well. You know, and he knows a lot of the constituents here because of his time on the beat as a cop. And so Hank is always out in the city. He's out seeing people, glad-handing people, hearing their cares and concerns, and just studying what it is that people want. I mean, along with the other council members as well, because each ward has their own monthly meeting or whatnot, where we meet with our constituents in our ward, and they, tell us what their concerns or cares is and what it is they would like for us to address. And so I think we do well as far as communicating with our citizens and then communicating back with management, because Warren Wood, Rick Beasley, who is our assistant city manager, Rodney Miller, another assistant city manager, CFO actually, man is great with numbers, and Yade Fox, she's assistant city manager. And so we have like a dream team. That's what I call them. Yeah. And, and we get it from the constituents, and then we take it to our management, and things just run so smoothly in that, in that direction. And so it's more, you can't ask for a better situation to be in especially me, myself, being new to council and learning on the fly, because I am still learning. And sometimes, I get a little flustered sometimes from some of the things that happen, but with the staff that we have, they make it easy for me. And being from my ward, now this is the good part. Since this is like a radio show to where you all like a little spice, right?
Absolutely.
All right. How about I give you a little spice?
Bring it.
Sure.
Bring it.
Great. Well, as you all know, there's been quite some time since there has been any minority representation or African American since Ann Hoyle in quite some time. And so when I was elected, a lot of people in Ridgeview in Ward 4, which is, of course, predominantly African American, they were excited. But along with excitement comes expectation. And I was expected to turn water into wine immediately.
Yeah, sure.
And a lot of people don't understand city government doesn't work like that. First and foremost, city government moves slowly. I mean, you have to vote on things, just like I'll use the City Walk and Riverwalk, for instance, or any of these projects. We vote on these things and talk about these things that it may take a year or two for it to come into fruition. And, when I'm coming into city council as an African American, coming from an African American community, living in that community, working and owning a business. My business was in that community 17 years. People, they were excited. And they expected me to just instantly start making things happen for an impoverished community. Because the reason why people were so excited is because they felt like the city of Hickory had forgotten them, that the city of Hickory did not care about them, and they had no trust in the city. When you have no representation, or as they say, a seat at the table, they felt like everything that the city did was not in their best interest. And so when I was elected, and as I tell them all the time, when you see me sitting there on council or with my seat on the council, that's your seat as well, because I am your voice. I understand what you've been through. I have been in that situation, still am. I live in your community. I don't have the things that the way they look at people on the other side of the tracks, because there's always been a myth that the railroad tracks separate Hickory. And so, I've worked, lived, and owned a business on this side of the tracks. And so I was more in tune and had a better ear to the street versus the other council members, because a lot of times people in my ward, if they felt like there was an issue they wanted to talk about or to face, they were intimidated to come to a city council meeting or to talk to the, council members, because they don't know them. They don't relate to them. They don't see them as being someone that would look at them and understand them. And so when I came on board, it put them more at ease. They felt like they had someone that they could talk to, someone that could be a champion for them and speak their words and speak their cares and concerns. And again, like I said, with that came a lot of pressure. And still a lot of pressure.
Still feel it, yeah.
Do you think Ward 4 has become more engaged since you've been elected? Do you think more people are starting to
Yes.
come out of the woodwork, if you will, and just realize that, I do have a voice now and I can speak up?
Yes. actually Ward 4 has become more engaged, because that was one of the things that, as I was campaigning, that I spoke about and I asked for, more engagement.
Right.
People are starting to see things happen in that ward. You know, when we get included in the book walk, we have projects coming for the undefeated Richview team, the Untouchables. We have things going on at the Ridgeview Recreation Center. We're seeing more programs. We're seeing monies. Because, see, that was the problem, that people felt like they weren't getting their fair share of attention and monies and funding in that area. And it had nothing to do with me being elected. It's just that things happen in time. You know, we operate on a budget as a city, and we can only spend money on so many different things at once. But having somewhere here that speaks up for some monies and to ask for different programs and things, and the new leadership that we have, you know, because Warren Wood just recently came back. We have a new mayor, and these guys, they care about Ridgeview and Ward 4, and they're working with me. And we're making things happen for that community now, and people are starting to see the difference, and they're starting to believe again. And we got the book walk, and there was a phrase said that was just beautiful, I thought. With the book walk, we're opening up Ridgeview to the rest of the city. Because the thing that we want to do is eliminate that myth that you can't come across these tracks, that railroad tracks separate this city. And I think that the book walk and some of the things that we're doing as a city and with our new leadership, I think we're working on ending that myth.
That's awesome.
For sure. For some of our listeners who might not know what the book walk is, maybe you could share that.
Yeah, sure. I would love to. The book walk is an extension or a spine of the city walk. And the book walk is going to include a pathway, a 10-foot wide pathway that's going to stretch from Ridgeview Library all the way up to, oh my gosh, I just had a brain freeze.
The
Walmart shopping center?
No. The library.
Patrick Beaver.
Patrick Beaver. Thank you. As you can see, City Council has started to fry my brain.
Well, you got nothing else going on, right?
Yeah.
So Ridgeview Library to Patrick Beaver
and the
Library.
Salt Block.
And, right, exactly.
Yes. And
essentially
then,
crossing over City Walk, right?
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. And then we were able to get additional funding to extend the book walk, which is, again, like I said, is a 10-foot iconic pathway, which is going to include different things. I'll give you an example. Think about the Hollywood Walk of Fame. When you see these stars with all the different... Now, I mean, of course, it won't exactly be like that, but there will be iconic things possibly in the sidewalk and along the sidewalk, talking about the history of Ridgeview and the rich history of things that have happened there. And we were able to secure additional funding to stretch it from Ridgeview Library all the way down 7th Street to 7th Avenue to 4th Street. And then it's going to go down from 4th Street to the neighborhood Walmart there on Howard.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, we got additional funding for that. And so this is going to be something that, it's going to be great for that community. And also, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kathy Greathouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
I've been working with Kathy Greathouse on a board, and Kathy has worked tirelessly, and I commend her for her effort. There's another grant that she has applied for. It's called a Z. Smith Reynolds grant, and she's going to provide an archway, which is going to commemorate the undefeated Untouchables, because this football team went undefeated and unscored on for an entire year.
This is one of my favorite Hickory stories.
For sure. It's like 1964 or something like that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tales that I feel like not everybody, even in Hickory, understands how kind of big of a deal this was.
Yes.
So this was the Ridgeview High School football team.
Yes.
And like we said, 64?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yes, it was. And then, they were called the Untouchables because, like you said, they were not only undefeated, they were never even scored on.
That's right.
Which is just, that for a whole season, that blows my mind.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite stories. I love whenever they do articles or, the books or anything that's noting this story. I always read it. Yeah.
And it adds to the rich history of what's going on in Ridgeview and in the past. And so with this grant, we've applied for, and we're one of the finalists. And I think that story is so good. There's going to be 10 grants awarded. And I told Kathy actually yesterday, I'm almost 100% certain that we will be one of the finalists awarded this grant, because that is such a great story.
It is.
And so this project, which is going to include an archway over the field where they played and a mural of the players, is going to be along the book walk.
Oh,
and,
cool.
and I keep saying proposed book walk because the community, we're talking about changing that name. This is just the name that we have now, because I think that it should be something more pertaining to Ridgeview.
Sure.
It's rich history.
Sure.
But for right now, we're in the early stages.
Yeah.
And so we're calling it the book walk now, but I'm hoping
Really, because it's bookended by the libraries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives,
So it's that literary component, but it's still
Yes,
up for
but I would
change.
like for the community to own that
it.
walk,
absolutely.
and for them to own it, we should give it a name.
Yeah.
So if any listeners out there have any ideas for us, we'll just send them into info@themesh.tv and we'll pass them along to David.
That would be
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
No, that's really
creative.
PG.
Yes, definitely.
No, we're going G on this one. We're going G.
Please, yeah. Please. No, that's a really cool project. I think so.
So,
it's very exciting.
is the main focus for council right now the bond program, or bond projects? I mean, what's the main focus right now going on?
Actually, it is.
Yeah.
We were, we have these bond monies that we are on a timeline we have to spend. And so, we have people talking about, okay, we voted on this. Where's our sidewalks? Where's our projects? You're about to raise our taxes. Where is it?
Right.
And so we worked tirelessly trying to, get some ground broken. But of course, we had to go through our due diligence. We had to put things out to bid. And, now that we put that out to bid, and now we've begun just the beginning stages now. We haven't started with the entire project as far as Riverwalk and all these other things, but we've broken ground on City Walk, and as you all can see, we have construction going on downtown on the square, and so we're in the early stages. But yes, that was something that we were very interested in getting started as soon as possible.
For sure.
Yes.
I'm sure you realized how impatient people are in this process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and this is probably something you've dealt with too, whether it's dealing with your constituents or anybody, just in working in and around with government, is the vote was the approval to then go seek the bonds.
Yes.
The bonds weren't lined up before. You can't put the cart before the horse.
That's right.
Because there's money involved going and getting the rating.
That's
then
right.
you need to go and line up the study. And, it's a public project, so you need
That's
the
right.
public's input. I mean, it's seeing how the sausage is made. It makes me think, what has been, even in your role in those 2 years, which I am sure is probably now the time that you feel like, I kind of know what I'm doing. Like, you probably need to see everything for at least a year,
Yes,
and then probably the
definitely.
2 years.
Definitely.
What's been the biggest surprise or two of being in that role on city council
The biggest
that
surprise.
you might not have expected or fully expected sitting in that seat? Having to know everything.
That, and I'll tell you, money. I did not realize how much money things, projects, and the way that you balance the budget as a city, our budget. We operate on $100+ million budget a year. Seeing some of the things that are in our budget and the way that we handle it, it just, it amazed me. And also the way that we have to interact with different companies. Because, like, for instance, I'll use Corning and ITM. The way that we try to recruit companies and retain companies that are already here, I did not realize how much effort went into making those things happen. It's a lot that goes along with that, and and here you're talking about, and also I'm glad you mentioned that as far as bond rating. We had to go up to New York to try to get a better bond rating, so we don't charge our constituents so much. Because if we had like a AB bond rating, we were talking because we were talking about 6 to 7 cents as far as, on the bond project's taxes. But had we had a, bad rating, or if we didn't go to New York to get a better bond rating, yeah. That could have made a big difference, because a lot of people would say, well, look, we didn't sign up for this. You told us one thing when we voted on this, and now it's something different. And see, and the thing is, the average constituent doesn't understand how that system works and how we have to operate.
And it's not the easiest to explain. You can't explain that in a soundbite.
No.
And then with you can't explain it to each individual over and over. Your day would never end.
That's true. That is so true. And, and luckily, we were able to go up to New York and get a good bond rating. And so we're going to be able to stay around the 6 to 7 cent range. And so now we're just discussing on how we're going to go about applying it, whether it be one time or incrementally. But either way, we're going to be able to stay true to what we said at first when the bond was voted on. And so that's the one good thing that I can say that we're all proud of, because some people don't have a good trust in government. The government will tell you one thing.
No, that's the nasty rumor.
Yeah. Because I was going to say for my slogan, no new taxes. But, that's just one
Except
thing.
for the bond.
Yeah. It's just that some things are necessary.
Right.
And when you're trying to improve the city. But I think that overall, once all these projects are completed, and even though, this is going to be attached to property taxes, of course, once these projects are completed, because I think that my favorite is the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be wonderful. Being able to walk out on the water, and then it's going to come inland, and then you're going to be like on a slope, being able to overlook the water. I think that's going to be like really cool. And then with the
really appealing too to people that
we've talked about it here
because we have water. Yeah,
the lake, river is always one of your best assets as a community, and ours is
historically underutilized
and cut off for a lot of folks,
right?
In the planning and development of how it's been laid out. So I think something like that, and seeing, and that's just what has been planned. I know, with the project being, we expect XYZ in private investment over 5 to 10 years. There is no way to understand and know that multiplier truly until it starts. I mean, all it can take is a couple of big things.
Yes.
And really, then that water can even be open for more opportunity.
Yes. And actually, I'm glad you just mentioned that, because there are already talks for more opportunities. Once we have this Riverwalk construction underway and in place, there are opportunities for businesses and other things coming along that pathway that will enhance that walkway and bring more activities to our lake, which is underutilized. And so I'm excited about that. And that's why I think that that's my favorite project of them all. I mean, even though I like the opportunity of my community and my neighborhood getting the book walk, so-called, but I am a fan of water, and I love the beauty of overlooking water and sunsets and sunrises, and so I'm excited mostly for the Riverwalk.
It's really cool. Lots going on, lots happening, and luckily, we've had someone who has come on and not only wanting to make a difference, but supporting the active projects that are already going on.
That's right.
And a fresh voice.
Absolutely.
Some new perspective, new ideas, like we talked about, with you being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah, those sort of things, lends great perspective onto that governing body. Because a lot of, there's just the different walks, whether you've worked for somebody else or whether you're retired or whatnot, having all those different avenues, like the taxes are going to affect you differently, not only as a resident, but as all those things, and just having those perspectives on the city council is good for everybody in the city.
That's true, because not only from a minority perspective, a small business owner perspective, because I've spoken to many small business owners, and they don't feel as if they've been represented well either. We have a lot of things in place, and my colleagues will probably get mad at me for saying this, but I'm a big proponent. I would like to see feather flags. And, and that's something that we had an issue with before. And I told them I'm not going to let this go. And so I don't mind if they get mad at me for me saying this, because I feel like some small businesses need those feather flags. But, it's voted against or whatever. But that's just one thing I'm going to be adamant about until I'm able to stick a feather flag into a yard somewhere. But small businesses, I feel like they need more attention, and they need more ordinances to help them progress their business, to grow their business. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for bringing in major companies, bringing in 200-300 jobs, because that's what our city needs. Yeah. But we also have to think about the little guy. Right. We have to think about ordinances and programs to help the little guy. Incubator programs to start new businesses, to give everybody opportunities for the American dream. Yeah. And so I think I might better stop right there where I'm at.
No, and I'll say this just from past positions I had. Like, the larger industries and companies will typically bring the folks here and bring the spotlight here. And thankfully, as we talk about tax dollars, they pay the burden of the tax.
Yes.
I mean, I know we all have to pay our share on our property, and it hurts.
Yes.
But thankfully, the businesses pay the lion's share.
We get a tremendous tax base.
So we need them there for those. But it's the small businesses that bring the spice and the character and the charm to a town, especially a town our size.
Exactly, because when you get those executives coming into those big companies, they're coming to my barbershop. They're coming to the little restaurants. Right. They're going to the gift shops, the T-shirt shops.
Yes.
That make them want to stay here in this city. And
they want
make them
music
enjoy
downtown.
this city.
They want to walk on the water.
Exactly.
Walk on the water is probably not the best way to put that, especially right after Easter. Yeah. But walk out and enjoy the water, we'll say. But things like that.
Yes, exactly. And so I feel like small businesses are just as vital to a city as these major corporations. And I think that they should be treated as such, you know.
Yeah, they define the city to me. The others might build it, but the smaller defines it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Alan from the Foot Candle Films podcast. Interested in promoting your business or event to an online audience? Consider advertising on the Mesh Podcast Network. Head over to themesh.tv for details.
Well, I mean, I have a serious question if everybody's ready for it to move on. But my serious question for you is, what is your favorite dive or diner to eat at in Hickory? Oh. It's okay because we've eaten at a lot of them.
Yeah.
We do a review, and so we're going to talk about our review in just a second. But do you have a great counter spot? You know, somewhere that's just I know I'm going to go in there and get a good sandwich or a good hot dog or a good whatever. Give us a little inside tip. What you got?
Well, I think the best hamburger in Hickory.
Oh, all right.
I am a
big word.
All years.
Big ears.
2 places.
Okay.
Well, now I'm sorry. Hamburger and a Reuben. I love a Reuben sandwich. Okay. The best hamburger in Hickory is at Hannah's Barbecue.
Really? Okay.
It is a secret because when you think of Hannah's Barbecue, you do not think of
PBJ.
Them having a great.
Please tell me it's the PBJ. Pimento, bacon, and jalapeno.
It just made McNally and David just became best friends, right?
Look at this.
I can't wait to break a burger with you at Anna's.
Yes. I love Hannah's Barbecue's
love a burger at the barbecue spot.
Yes.
Okay.
And
now the Reuben.
At Hams on 321. People forget about that.
Forget about Hams.
Yeah, they do.
But they have an excellent Reuben sandwich.
I need to remember that.
All right.
I mean, how we kept our hams after the majority of them went under. I think they went under.
And I call myself a foodie, you know.
Yeah.
And also for those that like to eat a little bit on the lighter side.
Okay.
The club sandwich at Backstreets.
Oh yeah.
2 people can eat off of that sandwich.
Yeah.
It is humongous, but it is very, very good.
Very good. Okay.
We might have a new food
reviewer coming in here.
Episodes.
Sometimes we aren't as eloquent as he just was about it. But we will move on to what we ate today. And hopefully, David, as I mentioned to you earlier, you said you've been to this place, so you can chime in too as you want on it. But we attended lunch at Shells today. Shells Barbecue over on Springs Road.
Hickory staple.
Hickory staple since 1952. We double-checked on that date before we left. 52. It's got a shiny diner now facade, even though it's
which is all I've ever known. So.
Right.
You gave me a little bit of a history lesson on shells today.
Yes. So shells was actually originally it was very much a wooden box. You know, I mean, it was just a very small. McNally saw some pictures of the original today, and you can attest it was a lot smaller than it is now. But now, as you're driving down Springs Road, you'll see it's a big shiny silver old diner look, and that was actually DJ's Diner, which was Dale Jarrett. He had a diner over in Newton and Conover area. And, I mean, I remember hearing the stories when they picked that diner up and moved it down the interstate and brought it over to Springs Road.
What was that about? I don't know. Tell me that story, because I don't know that story.
She just did.
I did. They picked up the diner and moved it down the interstate.
Where was it?
Wow.
Over in Newton and Conover area.
And they moved it over there?
They picked up the diner and moved it down the interstate to Springs Road.
I'm going to have to do some research on this.
Fact checking. I like it.
Yeah.
Start typing. You got a computer in front of you.
Mary Margaret, I believe you.
Y'all are not my friends today. I don't understand what's happening. It is one of the beauties of this restaurant that I believe. I mean, it's pretty standard. If you want a burger, you want some barbecue, you want a sandwich, you can run in and get it. Lunch, whatever. There is a counter in there to sit down. But it does have breakfast all day on the menu. And that's a rarity.
That's a half point bump for me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because I can attest to the liver mush sandwich there is excellent. You know, that's important to me. So I will start it off. I had the blue burger today, which was a rather large burger with onion rings, lettuce, tomato, and blue cheese on it. Sounded real weird. Tasted real good. Not gonna fib about it. Y'all know I'm not a huge sandwich person, so I took the bun off halfway through.
What kind of sauce was on that thing?
Blue cheese.
Well, it was like blue cheese dressing too. Is that what it was? I saw the crumbles. I didn't know if it had like just other saucy stuff on it.
I don't think so. It was actual crumbles though, like real like, you know, the soft blue cheese. Yeah, so it was really good, and it came with a side of fries. And I always order a side of slaw whenever I'm at Shells because I do enjoy their slaw. And of course the cherry vanilla Sundrop that I had. I am a fan of it in the drink version as opposed to the slushy version. So, Moose, what'd you have?
I had the shrimp platter today. Go to a barbecue place. What else are you going to get? Shrimp. Of course. Shrimp, fried shrimp, fish camp style, crinkle fries, hush puppies, side of slaw. I'll be honest. The slaw made the meal. It's some of the best slaw that I've had. It definitely homemade. Definitely was made today.
It's white slaw too.
Yeah, white slaw. Big fan of the crinkle cut fries. The hush puppies were good. They could have just left the shrimp. They could have just left it back there. It's fine. But the cherry vanilla Sundrop, come on, that's out of bounds. It's so good. It's like really, really good.
It's one of those things when you hear about people that have like lived in Hickory and moved away or gone to college or anything, that they all still talk about this cherry vanilla.
Yeah,
Sundrop.
and the drink.
You know, that's what they talk about. They come back and get it.
And you know, I usually do get the slushy, and after having the drink today, the slushy can just miss me with it. It's just
agreed.
The drinks where it's at. I appreciate you showing me the way on that.
Crumble ice.
Yeah,
it's crumble ice.
Pellet ice.
Yeah,
hospital ice.
So that makes the drink, right?
I'm a perpetual ice chewer. Sorry about that.
Well aware, seeing how I share a wall with you in offices.
And so the pellet ice is what's up.
Yeah.
McNally, tell us about your meal.
So the shrimp didn't get a high rating?
No, it just wasn't good.
The shrimp
I love
at a
the
barbecue.
Shrimp. I love the shrimp. I get the shrimp. That's usually what I get, and I was going to get it until he said... I was going to get it until
because I always get chicken. No matter where I go for this show, I feel like I always get some sort of chicken.
Because that's all you eat.
I know, but I wanted to switch it up, and it kicked me right in the tailbone for it.
Well, you should have swapped with me. Well, no, you couldn't because you don't eat meat. But I would have eaten that shrimp because I love the shrimp there.
Yeah. Well, you remind me of a guy we were picking on at my barbershop the other day. He goes into a Mexican restaurant and orders chicken fingers.
Yeah.
That's what, I get it. There when we went in there, he was talking fish, she was talking shrimp. I was like, we're at Shell's Barbecue. What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
And then I was the weirdo, but you changed your order. So
I did because I had to.
Went off your
He told me he was
usual.
doing the fish tray.
Yeah.
And then their shrimp. It was a game timer's decision. I got
I know.
nervous.
Was mine.
McNally.
Well, I'll start off. I had the barbecue nachos to start, and I love how Mary Margaret
Yes, I'm
didn't
sorry.
mention that at her
I
opener
forgot.
because she had half of them.
I did. I shared it with you, but I forgot that I had that. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted. I thought you
Yes.
just wanted to make sure the listeners knew that I ordered that and.
Well, I mean, you did technically order
Well, technically,
it,
I would have ordered it regardless if you helped me, but still, you helped
but yes, I agree
For those
to
new
help
listeners, McNally eats a lot of lunch when we go out.
I offered to split it with you, and it was it was.
I mean, it was
worth
very simple. It's just the nachos, their chopped barbecue,
Yeah.
which I get probably shredded barbecue,
Yeah.
and cheese whiz. Let's be honest,
Nacho cheese.
nacho cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was out of a can, but that stuff's great.
I mean, it was
honestly, this was better than I thought it was going to be. The chips were the worst part of the.
Did you get some bad
But we did manage to eat.
But
we did manage to eat barbecue at.
Yeah,
Shell's
well, and that's what part I wanted
Absolutely,
to walk
yeah.
out of there thinking because I am a little picky. We've talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
Eastern North Carolina. But it was good. Then I went and got a burger too, and the menu is pretty big.
It's extensive.
It is, yes.
But I got
It's not weird though.
no.
Like
not,
we've talked about
makes
crazy
sense,
menus
right.
before.
We've talked about menus.
Hashtag crazy
Almost
girl.
like what David's saying. If you're sitting there, and if there would have been a whole Mexican food section and then a Chinese food, like
That's
you can't
right.
do that. Like, if you're going to go
wasn't.
on, if you try to be everything to everyone, but
It was still sandwiches, hamburgers,
burgers,
and
barbecue plates, and all the
and then
other-
like the platters,
and
right?
then breakfast. So I had, Big B burger or something like that. But it was the burger patty, lettuce, tomato, jalapenos, pimento cheese.
Boom. That stuff's great.
And it was great. I've said this there. Of course, I'm not the littlest person in the world. The patty was a little small, but at least it did fill up the entire bun.
Yeah.
And with all the stuff I had on there, it really
was
kind
thinner.
of it's thinner, but it all blended together on the burger, and it was a very good burger. You can have crinkle fries. I'm very picky on my fries, and I like crunchy and with a little, and it's just
Yeah.
Whoa. You don't like crinkle fries?
Well, I mean, if they're not going to have that good crunch, and there's just too much potato. I like more of the crunch on my fry than I care about. If I want that, I'll get a baked potato.
Okay, we're going to agree to disagree.
I
on that,
agree.
but continue.
I tend to agree with that
Well,
as well.
I'm 3 to 4. You go
Well,
for it.
there
Man.
you
Just
go.
have fun.
All right, that's
on
fine.
your island, Moose Island.
Crinkle Fry Island.
I enjoyed the experience. All three of us got the cherry vanilla sun drop or lemonade,
This
whatever
was
they
your
call
first
it.
time.
I never had it before. I still have my refill
It's a delicious
to-go
drink,
cup right
yes.
here.
It's a delicious,
excellent.
refreshing drink in the afternoon.
And the
for
cool
you.
thing about it is that's why people like it, because they're not just going to go make it at home and have
It's
it all
true.
the time.
That's true.
So that's when you can
Yeah.
infrequently go get it and enjoy it.
Some of the perks, and these are things that we usually mention on our show, are the fact this does have a drive-through. And it's open in the morning, obviously, for breakfast and then down into dinner time. So a drive-through is, I do think, for a nice greasy spoon cup of coffee in the morning and a liver mush sandwich, I'm all about that. But it also has a kids menu, which is helpful. And the
see what's on
kids'
it.
food comes in a car, like a little
little ambiance, a little paper.
It's a little cardboard, car that's got like a hole in the middle of it, and they stick the food in the middle of it and like stand the burger up or the chicken tenders or whatever it is, and it's and then it comes with stickers, and you can stick the stickers all over the car and decorate your car. Anyway, I mean,
Little
things count like that whenever you're trying to think of restaurants when you have children. So I make note of that, but yeah. So I personally feel like, we probably should mention.
Yeah, let's talk about it, because I wasn't there. I had to leave just a smidge early to meet David here, but there was some shenanigans that happened at Shell's.
Well, so the booth we were in,
Shenanigans.
with you two
it was-
crazy people, it is shenanigans.
It's your diner booths, And so Moose and I actually shared a side. Why? I don't know. But that's just the way it happens.
Let's be honest. You guys share a side a lot.
Well, let's be honest. It's because you have luggage with you that you call a purse.
That's true.
So that takes up one part of your seat conveniently.
Noted.
My wife carries the same type.
Oh yeah, mine does too. She bought a new one, but we scaled it down a little bit. But they're luggage. It's either that or you can't carry anything in it, and you might as well just not have it.
I told her she could fit it like a 2 or 3 year old in that purse.
It's like a papoose.
So when we were there, Moose was trying to get out. He kicks the booth. I start moving it. The bottom part starts pulling away from the back, so I try to put that together and act like nothing happened.
They did drive this thing down the interstate.
I was going to say, they did take that thing down the interstate.
But not yesterday. So, I mean, obviously, they've stuck around for a while. So we get out again. Moose again kicks the table.
My bad.
Well, I just want to make sure that this leads up to when we were there. So Mary Margaret's sliding out of her booth, and she gets to the end, and everybody's been on like either a bench at a park where the legs are in the middle and it extends over, or a seesaw. Well, we were sitting there, and I heard her say, "Whoa," and she. Whoa, something. And she got into a crouching tiger drag, whatever stance. Yeah, she was ready to tackle. So I didn't know what was going on, but the other end of the bench was halfway in the sky,
literally pointing up to the ceiling.
Yeah, if you could have easily flipped it on the next table if you jumped on it.
If I wouldn't have caught myself with my probably achy tomorrow thighs, it was like. I would have been on my tail in the middle in the aisle.
I love to envision there would have been like a little baby on the end. That thing would have gone through the window.
Popped straight up into the ceiling tiles.
And so you caught yourself, the bench went down, and that's the best ab workout I've had in 6 months.
We did. I mean, there was no, oh my gosh, let's get this. It was McNally pointing and laughing, and then I acknowledged.
But there was no safety concern. I mean, we knew everybody was
fine.
good.
I did not let myself go all the way down the ground.
No.
And so by the time, then we're walking to the cash register to pay, and we realize we're crying, laughing. Like we can't speak because we're laughing so hard, and my core hurts so bad from laughing. And we look around, and not a single person didn't care. Didn't care that we were making a scene.
Side-eye us. They didn't look at us.
Nothing.
There was no gasp. It was just like...
People enjoying their barbecue, their sandwiches, and their shrimp platters, and not caring one bit that I just about bit the dust.
Which then you made the point of, that must have been maybe the newbie table. So next time we go, we know we're going to sit in another seat and just wait for somebody. Except I'll point and laugh.
I will watch, and I will enjoy my cherry vanilla sundrop while waiting on the next newbie to sit in booth number 6.
I'm really disappointed in you. You didn't have your phone out. But
yeah. Oh, you. First thing I thought of is like, of course, Moose wasn't here.
I immediately
because y'all work together. She gives you a hard time. You would have enjoyed that.
You should have seen. Like, my eyes were so wide open, and turned and looked at him. And caught myself. It was very Matrixy, just holding myself out.
Yeah, Mission Impossible when he goes down to the...
Yeah, that was definitely a moment made for social media.
Oh, man. It was something. It was great. But when I turn around, and I'm still sitting on that bench, but it's lower down, and I see that piece is pointing up to the ceiling. We were like, do you see that?
So, Moose, what do you rate Shells on your wonderful Moose scale?
Oh, man.
Take the bitches out of it.
Because I was going to say, is this a good review or a bad review?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
review. He does a scale.
I do an odd scale. I do a scale to 7. It's 3.5 out of 7. What do you think, Manelli? I'm just going to move along for my poopy review.
I probably bumped it up to 6.5. I think it was a little lower for me, and it wasn't even that as bad. It's just not everybody gets gold stars. Absolutely. But I will say this: the things that bumped it up for me were, aside from the entertainment. The breakfast all day to me was a half-point bump, and then the drink was a half-point bump.
It was real good. That's slaw.
Just because it's unique. I'm not a slaw guy, so I'm glad y'all enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I give 6.5 out of 10.
I was going to go 7 out of 10 just because I do. I do like the fact that it's been there since 1952. It was still crowded at lunch.
Staple.
Yeah, it was still crowded at lunch. They're doing something right. I mean, when we go to these places, I do feel like we try to test out different things or really, judge it. But honestly, I guess, a lot of people probably put in their good graces with it because you can go there and if you want a burger, you go to burger.
Sometime. I've never been there for breakfast.
You want a burger, you go there. If you like the burger, you can get a burger every time. It's going to taste the same way. If you want, and they do have good salads. I did want to mention that, a nice salad, offering chef salad, stuff like that. They also have, like I said, with the kids menu and stuff, it's very kid friendly. And I gave an extra half a point for the decor because it is Hickory decor. Yep. It's Hickory focused decor. We sat beside
Hickory.
We sat beside a St. Stephen's marching band uniform that they had framed up on the wall. And then they've got articles from people and events that have happened hanging up and around. And honestly, you just don't find that as much anymore these days. So I do appreciate that.
Like I said, we're reviewing Shells. It's located at 2609 Springs Road Northeast here in Hickory. And I enjoyed lunch with you guys today. Thank you for being our day. I'm sorry we missed out on Mary Margaret Cirque du Soleil.
Almost life-changing thing. We got up to the counter.
It changed my life.
Yeah, I mean, we got up to the counter. And I asked McNally, I was like, I just about died. Did you see that? Like, I almost died just then. Like, that was my heart.
It's no
stopped
surprise
for
it went up
second.
a couple. As you can see, the fishtail. This is.
I almost died when the thing turned over and was about to fall on top of me. No, it was just a nice broken bench. Enjoy and be safe when you go.
Be safe out there, listeners.
That's right. Be safe
out there, listeners.
Be safe, Street Circle Drive listeners. So our format usually leads us to events at this point, and we're going to kind of go over some of the cool things that's happening in the city of Hickory in the next couple of weeks. The Hard Hat series, which is a new music series, is coming to downtown Hickory. It's going to be located at the old Hickory Station, bottom parking lot there. They're going to put the stage up that's usually there for Hickory Hops. So you'll be able to sit on that grassy knoll and listen to music and drink Old Hickory beers and all that good stuff.
It's going to be down in the mail parking lot.
The bottom lot. Mm-hmm. It's the Hickory Hop stage.
Yes, not where it normally is for hops.
Stage, but not where the Hickory Hops location is. Tonight, May 3rd, we're probably not going to hear this in time for that, but Tom Sawyer's coming into town. May 10th, Gigi Lover and the Big Love. This May 17th, Lori Blackley and the Wildflowers. May 24th, The Moon and You. And May 31st, JJ Hips and the Hideaway. There's also every Friday night in June, they're also going to be there, so you guys go check that out. I'd also really like to bring up the June 1st City Walk Summer Celebration, and that's put on by the Hickory Downtown Development Association, and it's the first inaugural event. It's in partnership with the Hickory Soup Kitchen. We're doing barbecue, beer, and bourbon. You can eat barbecue there. You can get it takeout. There's 4 bands playing: Sycamore Bones, Tony O'Tora Band, Cottle Creek, and Scott Moss and the $100 Handshakes. And those guys are. That's going to be a really great event.
That event is also in partnership with the Hickory Soup Kitchen.
Hickory Soup Kitchen, right.
And the barbecue is going to be provided by award-winning Smoke This barbecue team.
Right. And again, that's June 1st. That's the City Walk Summer Celebration. That's going to run 4 to 9 p.m. So y'all check that out. Fingers crossed for beautiful sunshiny weather. Also, in lieu of the sales series this year in May and June, of course, I just mentioned that other music series that's the Hard Hat Happy Hours that's going on in May and June. The sales original music series is putting on two dates. Saturday, May the 11th, they're calling it Tunes and Trade Alley, and the music's all afternoon, located in the top of the Trade Alley parking deck. And that's going to be a great event for our downtown as well. That's going to run 2:30 to 9 Saturday, May the 11th, with Aaron Burdett Band, Miss Test, and Randall Bramblett. So Randall Bramblett is a Grammy-nominated artist. It has backed up a bunch of different folks and has a really, really good band himself. There's wine and craft beer that's going to be available there. And June 15th, June 2:30 to 9, 3 different bands, Arcadian Wild, the Rom Squad, and Selwyn Birchwood are going to be there as well. The sales series is going to kick back up at the sales, construction and all that permitting in September 16th, 13th, 20th, and 27th. Bunch of different bands. You can find them at the Sales Original Music Series website or on Facebook.
Moose, may I interject something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Give him a chance to take a breath. Did you hear that? Good gracious.
Take
a breath.
Yeah. He did a really good job of going a rundown through those bands. This is an opportunity that I always try to take advantage of to speak from a minority perspective, and I keep trying to speak it into existence. Coming from a minority, what I just heard was Willie Nelson, Aerosmith.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean,
That's brilliant.
I would love to come downtown Hickory, and I've said this in a public setting before.
Sure.
I would love to come downtown Hickory. Those people that you just spoke of could walk in here right now, and I would not know who any of those people are.
Well, that's me too, though. I wouldn't know a single.
I was about to say, I have to interject because I know this from a minority perspective, of which I am not one. But I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's not for valuable or anything, but it also doesn't mean it's not for everybody. That's what
what we're doing here in Hickory is great. I love the sales series; it's great. But, however, I would like to see. Let's get Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, somebody. But I know we can't afford those type of guys.
Right. I was going to say that bomb project better be a lot bigger.
No doubt. So, I'm in the school of thought. I'm a musician myself. I'm in the school of thought that music transcends a lot of different demographics.
Yes. Music and food are the best.
Yeah, music and food are both. And so, it maybe on paper it doesn't look good, but I guarantee you come check out JJ Hips in the Hideaway on May 31st, you're going to boogie.
From a minority perspective, I hear JJ Hips in the Hideaway.
JJ Hips in the Hideaway is about as bluesy and as R&B as you can get. So, don't let them fool you. They're great folks. And
well, and I do think, I would encourage, in some of maybe the promotion from the city and whoever else are putting on these events to maybe spotlight these bands before they come and give a little bit of definition of, what this band claims to see themselves as,
right?
For sure.
Yeah,
what's their sound and stuff. I think that might educate some people on this too, and hopefully just encourage people to come down for an event. And really, like you said, some of these events have the food tied in with it, which we all love a good concert with food, right?
Outlet to highlight those folks before they get here.
It would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
But it wouldn't hurt for a little R&B, hip hop, even salsa. Some different, diverse music as far as, because we're a culturally diverse city, and I think that it's time that we start representing that in more ways than one. And so I even feel like, as far as, I speak on this all the time, if you want minorities to feel welcome downtown, you have to put on events that make them feel welcome and that will bring them downtown. And that way they could patronize the businesses downtown so they don't just get one type of dollar.
Right.
Because we're trying to promote our businesses and we're trying to get them to grow and get them to make money. So we need to bring all races downtown.
Right. Understood.
And when we have these sales concerts and these different events, we need to do something to bring other ethnic groups, so they can bring their dollars downtown. And I feel like that's important for us to continually grow as a city.
Agreed. I think I'd love to have some representation from all the wards to really show the expansion of the whole city. Being involved in some of these downtown events, where the planning is happening and all of that stuff going on. I'd love to see some representation from everybody on there, so that sometimes it's not that small of a committee that's just kind of maybe pulling people they know.
Yeah. I would also check out Selwyn Birchwood. He's coming on. What day is that? The second event. It's on June 15th. He's something. Go check him out as well. And And I'd really like to, say that if you've got some ideas or something that of bands that you'd like to see, absolutely send them our way, and we'll see that they might, get on the bill for Oktoberfest or some of these things.
Great.
Great.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Oh, I definitely have quite a few in mind.
For sure.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Well, good. Well, we want to thank you so much for being here today. And
I want to thank you all for having me.
Absolutely.
I've had a great time. You guys have a great show.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for having me here today.
Well, we're happy with the work that's being done. We want to share the love out there on the interwebs, if you will, to let everybody know about how great Hickory is and the great people that are helping make things happen. So. Yes. Guys, you guys got anything else before I do my sultry closing?
No, I do not.
No. Okay. Well, thank you again for listening to Street Circle Drive here on The Mesh. If you have any feedback for us, good or bad, and you want to give us any ideas, feel free to email us at info@themesh.tv. Give us your food review locations, or if you have some bands, or hey, if you got a name for the book walk that you want to represent, then we will pass it along. So please send us your feedback. Be sure to subscribe and follow our podcast on any place that you listen to your favorite podcast. And then go check us out on themesh.tv website, as well as all over social media, so you can stay up to date with what we've got going on. But until next time, say goodbye, boys.
Goodbye, boys.
Love where you live.
You all. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.